Hey folks, Ken again. I figured that as a follow-up to the video I just made showing how GitHub Copilot did a wonderful job of helping predict what I was going to write, I said, you know what? Let me let the recording run and see how well it does in terms of helping me finish out the rest of my test. Given that I've got very small steps, small and detailed steps that the AI has a good chance of understanding and predicting how to implement, I believe that I'll be able to use GitHub Copilot to write most, if not all, of the rest of the API methods that will implement updating my language settings for my videos out on YouTube. So when I stopped the last video, excuse me, I had done a filtered list of YouTube videos from a playlist that had the incorrect categories or languages. So back in my Gherkin language test-driven development tests, this is where I am. So the SpecFlow plugin has generated function stubs for each of these steps. And I'm going to implement them right now and see how much GitHub Copilot does for me. So I'm going to need to enumerate the list of videos. So here's my list of filtered videos. And okay, so when I set the language for each video in list. So one of the ways that I work with ChatGPT and well, GitHub Copilot is basically ChatGPT behind it. So because this is the test project and because I'm lazy in a lot of ways, I don't necessarily comment. Certainly in the test project, I generally don't write comments. In my regular code, I do write comments. And if you write comments, that lets the AI understand what you want to do. And that is another productivity enhancement. So I'm going to explain to the AI what I want to do and see if it is good at generating the code for me. Now, I'm on a Windows machine where Windows key H activates speech recognition. And when I'm talking to ChatGPT on the web application or on my mobile app, I tend to give it a long description, similar to what I was doing in the GitHub Conversations module, where I might give it a detailed description of what I want it to generate, and then, have it. I don't think I did it in this particular conversation, but anyway, I'm not going to do that right now because I want to go line by line and let the AI figure out what I'm doing. So similar to the idea of having sprints and small user stories, if I have the API help me out in small chunks, I can't get too far off base. So here we go. So I'm going to give it a hint at what I want to do. So I'm going to say enumerate the list of videos and set the language for each one. Okay. I'm going to hit a tab to accept that and hit enter. And that's where the next prompt comes up. For each of our video, boom, boom, boom. I'm writing in C#. If you're writing in another language, it's probably similar. Hopefully you can figure out what's going on. So what it's suggesting here is not only the for each loop to enumerate my videos that need to be updated, but it is actually suggesting an API method that I haven't created yet. So I'm going to hit tab and accept that. And you see I got a red squiggly because, hey, that doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to take advantage of the Visual Studio helpers and say generate method, set language. So it went and generated that over in my code behind file over here. So I'm going to right click, go to definition. And so it threw in a block for me with a not implemented exception. Okay, great. So this is going to call API methods, which are asynchronous. So I'm going to change my void to async task. And I'm just going to hit enter and see if it, give it a few seconds. Bingo. It's following the pattern that I've established in my code already. So, and as in my earlier thing, so I'm hitting tab to just accept this flat out. And then I go take a look at it because the AI is not always right, but it does a pretty good job most of the time. So it's initializing my YouTube thing. It's calling videos, service videos list. Okay, yeah, it's calling the YouTube API to get that one video. So making sure that I got it. It's going to set the language code for default language and default audio language. And then it's going to do an update. That is 100% perfect. It's exactly what I wanted to do to update my language. So I've got green squigglies over here because I made the method asynchronous. So I need to do that. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this is an async. Right. Okay. Async task, and you know what? As a convention, I just hit Control R, which is the refactoring thing. I, tend to follow the convention of putting async at the suffix, similar to not reverse Polish notation. What was it back in the 90s when I did C and I coded in C and C++, and I would use things like prefixes like SZ and LNG and stuff like that. And I abandoned that after a while because it's like, you know what? I know this is a string. This is just extraneous chatter. Starting to feel the same way about async. Almost everything is async, so I don't really need to add 4 extra characters to async methods. It's like, anyway, so this will, update the languages. Now, what I didn't do is update the categories, because I had forgotten to mention that in my thing. So I'm gonna set the categories also. So I'm first gonna go here and I'm gonna put in a comment because I want to prep the AI to know, hey, I'm really trying to do 2 things here. So it might figure it out. Set the category if it's not already set. Perfect. Right. And I have a feeling that that is going to prompt it to recognize, oh, I need to do categories also. So let's see if I guessed correctly. If not, I'm going to put a comment about setting the categories, and the AI is going to create a method for me, blah, blah, blah. So let's see. A couple of entries, set the category. See? So this is not magic. This is, again, you working with it, you learn the AI as the AI learns you. So it is, as I mentioned before, by paying attention and doing the iterative things, this is how you can become insanely productive using AI tools. So as you can see, the last time when it generated the method, it did not suffix it with async and didn't do a wait. Because I gave it a hint of what I want to do. What's my pattern? The suggestion that it has is using async, await, etc. So once again, there's no method yet. So I'm going to hover. Come here. I'm going to say generate that method. And my red squiggly goes away. Go to definition. It threw in a non-implemented exception, but Walmart shoppers, I think you know what's going to happen when I get rid of that exception and I hit enter, bingo, there's my method. So let's see. This looks like I probably want to refactor at some point. Honestly, whether I may or may not bother. I say that because this part of the code, this is like getting a single one. I think I have a method for getting a single video anyway. But right now, honestly, it's not that big a deal for me to worry about. Ultimately, this is all utility code. Okay, this is not like I got to worry about thousands of users simultaneously. So a lot of times, I think about, well, how am I using this and is it worth it, to bother, whatever. So actually, I already, when I set the language for each video, so I actually pushed the updates back to YouTube. So I'm going to get rid of this line and I push the updates back to YouTube because that is not needed. And then I want to retrieve the list of videos again and check the languages and categories to make sure that they are correct. Ooh, and I got a little typo there. I'm not going to change it because I don't know when I generate the code, does it just figure it out which method it is from here? Don't know. I don't need to know. I'm just going to go leave the typo as is. Anyway, so when I retrieve the list of videos again, just to be certain that I don't accidentally overwrite my previous list of filtered videos, let me find, where did I start my region? Set language. Now, you know what? I'm going to do it up here. I'm going to do a list of, I'm going to do an enumerable list of videos. No. Of the, this is, I'm checking the list of videos. What should I call this? I'll call this YouTube video this is a terrible name, but I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. Again, it's utility code, boom, boom, boom. So when I retrieve the list of videos again, I know this is going to be an async task. So let's see if it's smart enough to figure out that I want to use the list that I just defined. See? And I say see, it's like, as you use it, you figure out how it works, and then you can predict what it's going to do. So it correctly picked the list that I wanted, but it's saying YouTube API, get YouTube or whatever, first playlist ID, blah, blah. That actually was unnecessary because I already had I've given this test my playlist ID in this method. I'm going to go to definition, which jumps back over to my code behind method, right? So we have playlist. Oh, I didn't ever save the playlist ID. Shame on me. Bad human. Okay. So I should have set, nah, you know what? Let me do it at the beginning of the code file. Yeah, I'm probably going to want to have a bunch of things, playlist ID. Okay. So I should have saved the playlist ID back here. It might, yep, it figured out that's what the human wanted to do. Save the playlist ID. So since I've saved the playlist ID, I'm going to cut in this in case it doesn't guess correctly, but I'm going to give it another try. Bingo. It figured out, oh, I had the playlist ID. That's what I wanted to do to get my list of videos to confirm that I've done my updates. And Then when I get the list again, all the videos should be in the required language. So the last step of my test will be to enumerate this list and see if the video's in the right language. So I know what I need to do, but it's a good chance that the AI knows what I need to do too. Oops, sorry. Let's try that again. Hit empty it out and then hit enter, wait a few seconds. Confirmations where. Okay. So this is looking at my list, and it's saying it's building a list of video objects where I still need languages. For the sake of expediency, I'm not going to worry about the categories right now. But right, yeah, so if the language count is 0, then this assert will succeed, otherwise it will fail. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually test my method. I have always been a stickler about stepping through all of my code. That's why I know how every line of my code works. So I'm setting breakpoints at all the different methods, and then I'm going to use the test explorer, which lists my tests, and we're going to run the set language for all videos and playlist test. That is the test that I'm running, the scenario that I'm running. I'm going to debug this guy. It's going to compile. If I have any errors, it'll let me know. Everything succeeded. Life is good. So let's see. All right. I've actually stepped through this before, but because the YouTube API uses a token that may have expired, I will see. Uh-oh. I think I might need to I think what just happened. No. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Because actually the method that does the test is actually in here, that checks the token is actually in here, where this is the line where if my token is expired, I have to reinitialize it. And because this is a test program, it doesn't really like when you run the test, because it's meant to run in a DevOps pipeline, it doesn't like interactive stuff. So the only way I've found to be able to do anything interactive is to stop it in the debugger and then, okay, so my token, if it had expired, then it would have launched a web page right there. So anyway, so I think I'm in good shape. I'm going to uncheck this one. So do I have my playlist? So I'm at my first step here. I've retrieved all videos, whatever. Did my playlist ID get sent back to me? Of course it did. And my playlist ID is null right now. So yeah, this is not anything new. I'm going to step over my, I thought I was going to step over my playlist thing. I had set a breakpoint in this before. So it's calling the YouTube API right now and getting my videos where, oh, I'm down here. Okay, I was like, okay. So now my YouTube videos variable, let me look at my autos, not my locals. My YouTube videos variable has 19 videos in it. I'm going through my Spanish language videos playlist that has 19 videos in it. So that's all good. And in the different videos, you can see, I can drill down and look at the details. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it run to the next breakpoint where it says, okay, language equals ES. Yep. That's what I told it out here, ES. So, in my test. So let's run to the next breakpoint. Videos. So let's get videos that are not in the required language. So sometimes I don't step through every single line of code. But so the videos to update, oh, you know what? It's a link method that I didn't do a to list, so it hasn't actually enumerated it yet. But anyway, you'll see it brought up 19 of these. Now, why did it bring up 19 and not 18? Because I had one, our Slavery Comes to America video. You know what? These are not sorted alphabetically. They don't need to be in here, actually. In the application, I sort alphabetically. So, but anyway, while I had changed this video language setting, there's another setting called default language that I am not 100% sure where that is in here, but I'm checking both of those in the API, and that's why all the videos are showing up as needing to be updated. So let's go and see if they get updated. So for each, whatever. So our first video, what is our first video? The title is in the snippet. The 1960 sit-in movement and founding of SNCC. All right, so I'm going back to YouTube here. I'm gonna back up to the page. That is the first video in the list, sit-in movement and founding of SNCC, which currently, because it was default, upload, it's set to English, and the category is set to entertainment. So I'm going to step into this one because I've never looked at this code before. All right, so I'm stepping into my set language. And what does this do? It's going to go grab this video. So updated video. So it went and grabbed the video data. I already had the video data, so this was actually redundant. And because calling YouTube eats up API calls, I probably will at some point refactor this so that I pass the video object. Then again, because you get 10,000 API calls a day, I might just say, forget about that, and I'll just call it until I run out of API calls for the day, and then just start it back up the next day. I don't know. Anyway, so, default language, snippet, default audio language is EN, and default language is null right now. So I'm going to step, and then this is just my local, data, ES, okay, great. Service videos update. That should call, oh, well, they didn't call it yet. That's the request. And bingo, it just should have executed. So if that worked, if I reload this page, so more. Video language is Spanish. Title and description language Spanish. That's what that other setting was. And it still says entertainment. So I didn't, because I'm only in set language. Okay, smart guy. All right, so, and by the way, this logging stuff, I use logging for everything. So like in my production servers, I can log, real-time activity. I use something called Sentinel that does logging. The same code also will. Let me go to my Black Facts. My Black Facts Slack channel. I do logging via Slack to, of all of my packages, so I get real-time notifications of different kind of errors and if things are okay, blah, blah, blah. So just on general principle, I build logging. Oh, and what's really cool about different logging things, like I use one called nlog in whatever language and system you're using. I'm sure there's something, just the same, where if I want to show you the logging settings, which project is this? This is update video catalog. So in my nlog configuration file, I've got the this is the quote viewer, where I say, okay, I want to log any logging events from trace level up to viewer, info and up to file, and info and up to my Slack target. And define the files and Slack targets right here in the configuration file. So, if you're not using logging, if I don't do much cloud stuff, so I guess if you're like in AWS, you might use CloudWatch or whatever. I would strongly encourage you, in whatever environment you're working in, use logging. It tells you what the heck is going on in your stuff. It'll empower you to recognize and solve things much faster than you ever could otherwise. And and I'm all about being efficient and insanely productive. That's my thing. So anyway, so step. I'm just going to go on faith that say category is going to work, and we're going to, but because I quote, confirm, what do they call it? Test but verify. And because you guys are seeing my screen, just if you're wondering, like, oh, what is that movie? No, it's not porn. It's this movie called The School for Good and Evil. And it looks like this character was just becoming evil. Anyway, I'll finish it another time. I was watching it last night. It's like this fantasy movie. Got a lot of black folks in it though. The trend that I'm recognizing more recently and kind of digging. So okay, so I'm gonna reload this. And I'm talking like Lawrence Fishburne, is in the movie. Anyway, I'm trying. I'm not 100% sure if Janelle Monáe is in there, but I'm gonna check but sometimes when they have makeup, you can't be sure. Anyway, so let's look at my category. Education, bingo. Success. So I am not gonna go for each. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'm just gonna let this guy rip. And my logging thing is it's telling me what it did. Yay. So we stopped at our next break point where it says, okay, I'm going to get my playlist from YouTube again. And my list of YouTube video confirmations now, ideally, if I look in my snippets, oh, not good. It had default language, ES, but default audio language was not changed. Okay, so that's not good. Videos not in language. Oh, I because it's another link thing that I didn't do to list. I'm just gonna let this run and see what not all videos are in the required language. So back in my test explorer, you'll see I've got a nasty red X. And so why did it not update why did it not update my video language, my default language? Because I thought that's what I told it to do. Default audio language and default language. So honestly, this another video has gone longer than I expected. And because one of the settings did get changed, I think I'm going to just go with the one that did get changed and leave it at that. Or maybe, you know what? Oh, discard changes. That's interesting. Let me try another one. I could have accidentally just picked one that was open. YouTube knew it was open. So, but frankly, I'm not going to worry about it too much right now because, yeah, it says video language English, Spanish now. I mean, the
Blackfax.com presenta.
yeah. I don't think the audio played, maybe it played through the microphone, because I forgot to turn on share audio. So exactly why the default language didn't get changed, I will probably look at that another time and just use this one in my code, which appears to be default audio language, as my guide to know that this video has been updated. So yeah, that was an unfortunate. I wonder if it's because the I don't know. I don't know. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about it too much because um, my ultimate objective behind this is to be able to batch update data in my database and have enough data in YouTube to be able to keep my database data and my YouTube video data in sync. That's my ultimate objective. Having one of the settings in sync is good enough for me, quite frankly. Ultimately, I'm going to be managing everything from my own custom application, and the YouTube data will be essentially read-only. But this is not that day. Today, I'm just trying to get, my stuff batch updated. So I've achieved my objective. I'm going to stop this video, and hopefully this was a useful example of, again, how to use ChatGPT, OpenAI, GitHub CoPilot. It's all the same stuff under the hood, to make yourself insanely productive as a developer. Okay, thanks.